Right. I was on the way up here. Right. I'm sitting here. I'm looking out the window, and I'm like, yo, nigga, you live far as fuck.
Yeah, this is pretty bad.
There's actually no bad bitches on the freeway.
You know what? I look over all. I don't do it intentionally, but I look over because I used to try to look over to see who was picking in their nose.
Yeah, I tell you that.
So I look over every now and then, but it's never a cute chick bringing in their nose.
It's always some old white lady driving the freeway. It's crazy.
That's funny. You know, a while back, before I was married and shit, I remember looking over at the freeway, and it used to be cute chicks down in L.A. And I remember we got in a traffic jam, and I looked over, and it was a bad chick. And I actually ended up giving her, getting her number, like, in that traffic jam. She rolled her window down, got her number.
You know what? Lynn was doing that one day where he was like, there was a girl doing this. It was like a Morse code, and I was like, what the fuck are you doing? And it was her number. It was crazy.
She gave it, and did it work? Did
it worked.
Hit her up?
He like called her, yeah.
Well, that happened for me.
And they were talking on the freeway right next to each other.
That happened for me. But before we even got out of the traffic jam, I started sending her pictures of the goods, and I think it was too quick. She was
all right.
Hi, Daddy.
Now ain't nobody tell us it was fair. No love for my daddy, cause the coward wasn't there. He passed away and I didn't cry, cause my anger wouldn't let me feel for a stranger.
All right, so quick note about this song right here. When I was, I want to say like maybe 10, 11, I was singing this song in the car with my mom. We're driving, and I'm singing it, and she cuts the radio off. She's like, he doesn't know the circumstances that has to do with his dad being gone, so he shouldn't talk crazy about him. And my first thought was, yo, that's my shit, Mom. But I was just thinking about it, and you don't experience that days now. So, like, in my adulthood, it just seems a little different, and it means a little bit more to me that my mom wasn't like, yeah, fuck that nigga. Like, she was really like, yo, everything has the circumstances in life, and you have to live that way.
That's a rarity.
Yeah.
That's that right there speaks the volumes of the type of woman your mom is, because you know this. Yeah. You've met my mom. You know she flies off the handle quick, and she'll bash my dad and blame everybody else. And I love my mom, all due respect, but I've never heard my mom really say it wasn't his fault. The pressures of being a man, the pressures of being a father, these are things you can't control. Son, you don't understand this. One day you may be in a position to understand that. So that's hats off to your mom.
Right. And it's funny because yesterday we were talking about, like, just dads in general and the projection, right? And you were talking about projecting out to what you'll see in the future. And you were saying, like, you talking about drug habits, because my dad was a druggie, you know what I'm saying? And so was my mom. And my mom...
Same here, Dad. Yeah.
My mom broke her habit to take care of us and left my dad. But she left my dad before she broke her habit because she knew she couldn't, survive.
Right,
you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But you were saying that the projection is, like, if you were to gain a habit today, then LaShawn wouldn't go to school in 5 years.
Oh,
right,
right,
college, remember?
Right, absolutely. Like, we're talking about just a heavy addiction. Yeah, that would definitely take a toll 15 years down the line. It's like literally like in the hip hop scene and whatever scene, movie scene, wherever you at.
Yeah.
If you indulge one time, that one time indulging really affects 16, 15 years down the line that you may not even see, because as humans, we get caught up with this type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, and yeah, it'll impact the kids way later on. Hell yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and that was just crazy to me, because I was thinking about it, like, yo, if I did crack today, Zaya wouldn't go to school in 8 years. So it spoke volumes when you said that.
The reason why, like, what are the reasons why? Why wouldn't she go to school? I mean,
well, think about it.
And I think I know, but I'm curious to pick your brain.
So just think about it. If, for example, I'm doing my addiction thing, most likely I'm losing my job.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying? Because you got to remember the whole crack epidemic that happened that's what happened. We had middle class African Americans losing their job when it came to it. So I would lose my job off top.
Right.
And then because I'm chasing the addiction.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then if I'm not chasing the addiction and I got the money to get it, I'm doing it at work. So if I lose my job, you know, the kids lose their medical benefits. They lose a dad because I'm gone.
Yeah, I mean, because half the time you're gonna be gone getting it, or half the time you're gonna be recovering
exactly
from when you got it.
Yeah, and so I think that was one of the things that happened with my dad because you know, from the stories that my brother told me, after my mom left, they had to stay, and it just spiraled. So now he's staying in my uncle's backyard, and all the kids are dispersed. So I have one sister that's struggling with alcohol abuse. I have a brother that's struggling with alcohol abuse, is in jail right now. I have another brother that's in jail struggling from an addiction. And then I have a sister that hated my dad even after death. Damn. So, you know, everything it affected all of us. And I was going through my own issues as well. And I'm pretty sure you can touch on this. Like, with me being in my dad's, having my dad in my life, you turn to other avenues and things like that, right? Right. So I remember just fighting a lot, especially in my early years when someone would say something simple like your daddy. You know what I'm saying? Like that would trigger.
So that was your trigger instead of like your mom's.
Yeah, like
for
that.
You,
you know, I was like, my mom at the house. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right. I know what she is. I know what she don't do and what she does do.
She ain't tugging dick. My dad probably. I was like, you gotta keep 100, right? Like,
yeah, when you don't know these things. Nah, I heard.
So you were telling me a little bit about your struggles with your dad.
I mean, for me, for the most part, I mean, it was similar. I didn't know what my pops was doing out there. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if he was out there sucking dick. But when we're talking about addictions, and we're talking about how we mentioned earlier, how would Zion do 15, 20 years down the line or whatnot. Yeah, I mean, we just don't know what some of these things are going to lead to. When I think about my pops, him caught up in the drugs and that life taking over. I don't know, man. I just kind of like earlier in back in the days growing up in foster care as a result of that. That's what I'm saying. Like, so Bless ain't gonna make it to college. As a result, like same thing with me. Like, I'm gonna have to go through foster care. I ain't gonna be with family and friends. I'm not gonna know what it's like to actually be at one high school or one middle school. But this all starts. It's like a butterfly effect. It all starts early. So, I mean, earlier years, I was like super frustrated and like hostile towards my pops. And I still got a little bit of that, you know what I'm saying? But I think it's because I looked at it as weakness, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's weakness. How could you not be in the life of someone that you fathered, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's funny because I was saying in last week's episode that was, if you're not being a dad, you know, you're not a man, you're a boy, and it's fuck shit. At the end of the day,
called it cowardly,
yeah, because especially if you know from the evolution of your growth and all the shit all the trials and tribulations that you go through as a man,
right,
or as a young boy coming up through those ranks,
right.
So that was one of the things that I touched on a lot because I don't feel like a lot of people understand how important a dad is in your life and just in your development, like. Oh, you know, some dads like me, for example, like I'm fighting with my son at 3. You know what I'm saying? Like you remember
what do you mean
when we were
fighting?
growing up, like fighting with him, like, you know, play fighting, throwing, hey, you know, if this hook come, this is what it comes next. Right. Like, you know, you give them just the little trains because you know they're going to go through that stuff.
They're going to go through these things
as a male.
Absolutely.
So in my mom's house with me, they never understood the struggles that I was going through. You know what I'm saying?
You grew up with all like predominant
all the girls. All my brothers were in jail, so I have nothing but girls. So when something's happening at school, they can't relate to it because it's not the things that they have to do. You know,
it's almost like that saying where it says you need a man to raise a man.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. A woman can do. She's capable of raising a man.
Right.
But in comparison to a father being in the household already. like that slap boxing.
Yeah.
Or like that, like, look, this is how you use the bathroom. This is there's so many little bare minimum basics that you can actually
Right,
get from
because
that.
and that's funny that you say that because when Amber was potty training, you know, Aiden,
Yeah.
she was having him sit on the toilet. I was
Right.
walking there, yo, get him off the toilet. Like, what are you doing? He stands up. You know what I'm saying? So that's
Imagine.
yeah.
And imagine if he starts his first day of school and he's the only boy sitting down
Yeah.
on the toilet while the rest of the boys are like, what the heck is going on with this one? So many different things start on a social level. It's funny too because one of the pieces of information that I actually retained was Ran 2.
Yeah.
Ran 2. I remember when I was having issues with potty training Zion. Even though I had LeSean and I potty trained him,
Yeah.
but it was like 10 years later. And like I'm like, man, and you know, every kid is different. So
Yeah.
I'm sitting there like, man, how do I get him potty trained? And then he said something that was genius. He was like, you just take him to the bathroom with you.
Yeah.
Let him see what you do. And he's
Exactly.
going to inspire to be like that. So imagine if I wasn't in a household to do that. He'd be sitting on the toilet.
Exactly. And I don't even know if I was sitting on the toilet, but that's the thing. So, did you find yourself like as a kid when you would see other people? Because I found myself doing this a lot. I would see other people with their dads, and I would get enraged. Right?
Oh, real?
Yeah. Like there was some twins that they weren't twins. They both had big heads and they were both short, so they weren't twins, but. They used to live up the street from me. They had mom and dad, right? And they used to say your dad a lot because they knew.
Oh, they was just poking at you.
Yeah, but I used to get them.
They were mad because they had some big ass heads.
Yeah.
So everybody like,
So,
yo.
but I would find myself fighting the both of them, and this happened probably like 4 or 5 days out the week, like for at least 3 months until they was like, all right, he cool.
Is this back when you lived in the quota sack area, or am I
No,
tripping?
no, this is when I was living in Altadena on Olive, down the street from Drew's house.
Ah,
Yeah,
okay.
so this is
All
like
right.
8, 9, 10.
Okay, I kind of remember this.
Yeah, so-
This is around our age, and she met Jason.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
it
I
was
remember
right. It
something
was
like this.
actually right before, and then when I met Jason, and they tried to jump me and Jason fucked him up.
This is how I know these twins. I
Yeah.
knew it. You see, I was making a connect. I was
Yeah.
connecting the dots. I heard this story
Yeah,
like probably 10 years
ready. It
ago.
was like, oh, it's 2 of them. So
We can't talk about his dad.
Give them power bombs and everything. Yeah, but see, that's the thing. Like, you know, and if it wasn't for my interaction with males like you guys, the life, I'll probably be somewhere crying right now, being Drake. Like all the time.
Like, it's funny. You asked me if I felt like any type of emotion when I would see a father. It's crazy, to be honest with you. The first recollection of a father that's supposed to be in a household. Keep in mind, like I'm growing up in foster care, group homes, so ain't no Bill Cosby for me.
Yeah.
Ain't no. I mean, I don't even know if you would want to consider that. That's funny. This is my mom right here. Mom, I love you, but we're doing a podcast right now with Mrs., so I can't talk to you right now. I'm gonna talk to you in a second, okay? All right, bye. She's dope. She knows. Like, I do it all the time. It's been times where I've answered the phone on stage and my mom like, hey, Mom, say what's up to the crowd, speakerphone. But nah, for me, like, she's dope. She gets it. She's like, you're always busy. But for me, I'm trying to think back to the first father figure that I noticed inside of a home, and you got to keep in mind a black father figure.
Yeah.
Because I mean, for
Facts.
white families, like we don't even identify with them as dealing with the same type of issues we're dealing with. So when we're talking about a black family, the first identification of a black father figure probably hit me maybe around the age of a real father figure, taking care of kids, come back every night, providing food, and go, dang. You know what? Know what? That would be Dorchelle's dad, and he was a Mexican Latin dude.
Facts.
But he would go to the fish market. This is 2001. So the first father figure that I even realized that was possible was probably at the age of 14, 15.
So that's high school.
That's high school. And still, I'm still like identifying that he's a different race. Mom is black. He's Mexican. My girlfriend at the time, she's black. And I'm like, oh, wait, this is what it's like to have somebody who go to work every day. He would bring food back for us, even me.
Yeah.
And he would, he would deal with the arguments and all that stuff. So that was the first time. It's crazy.
Yeah, I had the Jesse, and he looked out for me, but Jesse, the twins, the Big Head Brothers, dad, he looked out for me all the time. But the only person that like was a father figure my whole life, Ned. Drew's dad.
I started to see that this was afterwards, of course, after I met you. Yeah. I started to see what type of father figures.
Yeah, because when he did all that stuff, he even played like games with us, and like he taught me how to play Monopoly, like and things like that.
Let me ask you something real quick, just real homie to homie conversation. How did that make you feel that? And I gotta just say it, and I love him, I love Drew to death, but like the first time you really got to really experience that white male as a male role model father figure, like did that like kind of throw you off at all?
You know what? It didn't click well. I was so used to street shit that it was comfortable for me.
It was comfortable.
It was comfortable to go into that environment because it was something where you didn't have to worry.
So it was like an oasis away from the desert.
So for example, we would go certain areas, certain places that I had never been. You know what I'm saying? So it enlightened me into a way that this is bigger than the gang members that we hang out with every day, or my cousins and uncles and stuff that are gang members. Like there's a world outside of them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So when it came to Drew's dad, and I don't know if Ned will see this or not, but he did a lot for me in my growth and development. You got to remember, like, they didn't do much to in the way of like wanting return, but they let Jason stay with them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like they gave me a spot after my heart surgery.
Not to mention, they just told me anytime you want to come up, use the pool, bring your family, come up anytime.
I'm telling you,
always open invitation.
Yeah, and then they even like understand white privilege, so they be like, "Yo, I was just at their house. I kid you not." And Ned makes dry humor jokes all the time, and he's like, "Yeah, you guys make sure that you guys don't go outside and splash too loud because somebody might call the police on you guys."
That's true, because he's very aware about what's going on and some of the struggles that we have to endure.
Exactly.
I can only remember some of the times where we would have pool parties and just different get-togethers, and everybody, all walks of life, the community would come together, and we would go up to his house. Yeah. And they'd be like, "Hey, man, we'll be in our room. We're chilling. You guys have fun." These are the type of things.
Just don't jump off the roof.
I think that was a couple of y'all. Y'all used to do bad. I ain't getting up there. I'm sorry, but my clumsy ass has slipped and land right on the pavement. So I'm like, nah, I'm chilling. But y'all used to do all that crazy stuff, man.
Yeah, so that's that. Like if it came down to it at the end of the day, that would be the father figure that I.
Well, one that I ended up, and I hate to say this. I hate to say this, but I'm gonna just be 100, man. My thing is being open. I hate to say it only because we're kind of close in age. Yeah. But a father figure, and not in a traditional stance, but in the stance of taking a young black male under the wing and really like trying to like pour into him. I would say my mentor Shucks Swan. Like he was one of those cats back when I was traveling back and forth through the group homes. Yeah. Similar. He understood where I come from as far as the street life goes, but he understood that I needed some type of motivation. So he always used music. And he would be like, yo, he's seen how horrible I was doing in school. He was like, look, I'll bring all my recording equipment over, like MPCs, all types of like little cords everywhere, and let you record every Friday as long as you don't get a phone call home, you don't get suspended. And just that whole mentality of like, yo, he didn't have to do that, but he would pour that into me every weekend. It motivated me to turn around and do the same thing. It led by example, like as we always say.
Yeah, because you gotta lead by example. You gotta open up your heart and love to whatever comes your way. So social interaction, right? Because I remember, and I think that have it. She didn't install it in me. because I wasn't sociable until about junior high, right? Before I was pretty dormant, kind of timid, and it had to do a lot with my sister's dad. But we'll save that for the next one. But do you think that socially, right? Because our kids are social butterflies. They talk to everyone, right?
No.
No?
No.
Well, not Zion, but Bless is always talking to somebody. Zion's still kind of young.
Yeah, I mean, I think they got to warm up. Once they
Yeah.
warm up, they get out there. They'll socialize. But that probably comes from me too.
Yeah.
That's probably because I'm a little.
That's your
That's probably on
that's
me.
your temperature.
I mean,
for sure.
So, I mean, but see, the thing is funny is like I can socialize really well when I'm out in the public, when I'm out doing shows, and as long as I can do what I know I'm good at, then I can socialize all day about that. But when it comes to like being in the comfort zone of just being just me, sometimes I get a little introverted, and I think I see that in my kids a lot of times. But my bad, go ahead.
No, that's right. No, because you install, but that's what I'm talking about. That pretty much wraps into what I was saying. Does it install a certain amount of like whatever your temperature is in life, however you socially interact, instead of finding that way as a male, right? Because your son, your daughter, they're going to pretty much mimic how dad is. Because mom is always pretty much free flowing. She just wants to nurture, but at the same time, we're like the aggressors, right? So the way that
you gotta get out there, challenge yourself, meet people. It's okay.
Yeah, exactly. So I didn't learn that till later when I actually started to develop friendships. You know what I'm saying? Because we were moving so much when I was young. Yeah. So once we kind of bunkered in, it was around high school time. We stayed at a certain area for so long. We were down on Raymond. We stayed in that area for about 3-4 years. Right. That's when I started to like socially interact and have friends and things like that.
Right,
before that, I wasn't really wanting to talk to anybody, and I think, and I kind of know that has to do with me not having a dad, because with Aiden and Zaya, I kind of force them out. You know what I'm saying? But their moms will be like,
you can stay next to me, it's okay. You shy? Okay.
Hug my leg, get behind me.
That is so funny that you mentioned that. I just, once a month, Zion school, he's in kinder now. Yeah. So once a month, they do a thing called Lunch on the Lawn, where all the parents come out, all the kids come out for lunch, and you bring them their special lunch, whatever you want them to eat. And you're absolutely right to that point, because as he was sitting there eating his chicken and stuff with me, you know what I'm saying, he's seeing all the kids go out there and starting to play. Yeah. And he's like, oh, I just need my friends to go play, but I don't see any of my friends, so I'm going to just stay here with you. And I'm like, no, go make new friends. Yeah. He's like, the challenge. Go make new friends. Go hang with new people. And he's like, no, I don't really want to. I don't see anybody from my class. I was like, yo, it would be better for you to actually meet people that's not from your class, because there's different people that you can see and interact with. And you know what? It's funny because he started on the center of the blanket with me. Then he moved to the edge of the blanket after about 2 minutes of me trying to convince him. And I was like, maybe I should chill and stop trying to like push him. And I was like, nah, he wants to get out there. He just needs to like the confirmation or the reassurance from me. I'm like, look, I'm gonna be here. If you need any type of safety or whatnot, and you feel like you're uncomfortable, come back to the blanket. Yeah. But go out there, go have fun. Like just go grab a ball and have fun. And eventually, like 2 minutes later after that, he finally ran, and he didn't come back until his lunch was
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like as adults, as fathers, we just kind of gotta push it out there.
Is that wrong though?
You know what? But I don't think so, because that's what I'm saying. There's a balance. There's checks and balances.
There's a balance, right.
So if mom is going to be like, oh, come here. Yeah. And you're going to push them out, it's going to even out at some point. I agree. See, but I think what was happening with me when I was young, it was just too much. Oh, come here. There was only a few times when my mom actually made me fight. Like there was one time I was...
Really? Your mom?
Yeah.
Your mom said like she'd make you throw down at any second.
You know what?
Like, yo, you about to get your ass... Right. If you get your ass whooped, you get your ass whooped.
Yeah, but you know what? It's funny because my mom would do that, right? Yeah. But a lot of the times, because I was the only boy and all the stuff that happened with my sister's dad, she was trying to nurture me a little bit more than she would with my sisters. My sisters was out there chunking them.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, so that's what
running out their cars, throwing knives, fucking Terminator T-2000.
Right, yeah.
Any female that run with open hands like this, nigga, I'm not fighting, I'm not arguing.
Right.
If you run with your hands open, I learned that shit from Terminator. Don't fuck with them people.
Right.
Who does that? They know about aerodynamics?
My sisters. So look,
Right,
so
my bad.
I remember we were living on Los Robles. We had stayed there for about 3 months because the place was rat infested and roach infested. So we never unpacked. We stayed packed for those 3 months, right?
Smart.
But we were living out of boxes. That was trash. So
Did you have the trash bags in the boxes?
no,
You got to keep the plastic, keep the roaches out, man. I know
yeah,
that.
well I know that. But what I'm saying is, oh shit, nigga, you throw me off topic.
Yeah.
Anyways, so
Rats and roaches and shit.
So we were staying on Los Robles, right?
Yeah.
And I remember I had these sandals on. And I was the fastest kid in the apartment complex.
With sandals.
With sandals. I used to strap them up at the top.
Yeah.
I think they were like flash sandals or something. And mind you, I wasn't the cool kid yet. I was the trash kid. So I had my sandals. They were strapped up. I got them on the 4th of July. They went with my fly ass 4th of July suit. It was a flag.
How old were you? This is before I met you. This had to be 6th or 5th grade.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like,
all right.
This is 6th grade.
Okay.
And I was fly, right? It was like, well, I thought I was.
Yeah.
So anyways, I'm walking them outside. We running down the thing. I'm whooping all the ass. And mind you, I had some rough ass feet because it was gravel.
Yeah.
And it was tearing out the bottom of my
Yeah.
sandals, but I kept wearing them motherfuckers.
Yeah.
They was fly. So
I don't know.
So-
You got holes at the bottom of the sandals. I don't know if they still flow. All right,
they
I'm
was
rocking.
flopping, but
I'm
I was
rocking.
still kicking their ass,
Yeah.
right? I was talking about this guy, and I was telling him he was on swole, but I was holding the O. It's swole, right?
Yeah.
And he was mad about it. I kept saying it. And then he wanted to fight. So I was like,
Oh, because he felt like you was antagonizing.
yeah. So
Okay.
he like kept chasing me around the car, and I kept bagging. But I was too quick. I was a quick kid. So I tried, I shake him, get him right, juke move, right? And I run to the house, to the door. And I'm like, my mom had heard me outside talking all that shit.
Yeah.
And she was like,
You guys are good. You
yeah,
guys are good.
it's fine.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Nah. All right. Wait.
Yeah, yeah.
So continue your story,
Okay,
though. I'm
so-
sorry. My bad.
So I give him, so I run to the door and I'm like, yo, let me in. And my mom's like, nah, you was talking all that mess. Like, you might as well go ahead and, get the fight off.
So she's like, yo, you got to handle it. You got to
Yeah,
fight.
so
Yeah.
she made me go back outside. Like, no, she didn't even let me in the house. So the dude was older than me.
Wait, like how much older? Like high
two-
school?
Yeah, he was middle school.
Oh, middle school.
He was
Okay, like
middle
13.
school.
Okay.
But I was, 6th grade for us was still elementary.
Right.
So I'm outside fighting the 8th grader and losing.
Oh, you getting beat up at this point.
Yeah, but my mom is like,
Guys, quiet on the set. Son just came in. Sorry, y'all. Forgive me. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
that's cool. So so they're so I lose, walk back into the house, and she said something slick like,
you lost bad, or how bad you lose?
not too bad. Like, I wasn't bloody, but I was scraped up.
Damn.
You know what I'm saying?
Hey, yo, if bloody is the next step
Yeah.
up, then I mean, for sure you got served.
I lost.
All right, cool.
I
That's
lost.
what's
He was bigger than me. I got some punches in, but it's.
Hey, he got some jokes and punches in.
Yeah.
Those jokes probably stuck with him to this day.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he's mad about that still. But yeah, so we
Say swole with an L.
So I go back in the house,
Yeah.
and my mom tries to, play the dad role because she has no choice at that time. And she's like, well, you can't be talking shit. Get your ass whooped. That's what she told me.
Yeah.
And I walked upstairs. I took a shower. I had scabs.
Yeah.
Yeah. on my
Let me
legs.
ask you, what do you think would have been the difference if it was a pops there
I
and
would
you
have.
got
I probably would have
smashed?
hands. I probably would have hands.
So you
in.
saying you butterfly effect. So you saying this would have never even occurred. The
Nah,
loss
nah.
wouldn't have even occurred.
You met my brother, Kenny.
Yeah.
Yeah, he learned how to fight from my dad, and it wasn't until he got out of jail that I started to actually be
correction.
nice to
He
him.
said you met my brother Kenny. Like I got my ass whooped by
Oh,
like you met
yeah,
my brother
no.
Kenny.
No,
But no, I get what
Yeah.
you're saying. You're saying like with a father figure around,
Yeah,
just to teach you certain things, right?
like how to duck and dive. Like I wasn't out there juking and jiving. Like I was.
You was taking the hits and just throwing them back.
Taking the hits and throwing them.
How I won so many fights by just taking a hit.
Yeah.
Like, but I mean, like I've lost a couple, but most of my fights it was like, yo, you get trained to like just take the hit, but throw a harder hit. You
Yeah.
get what I'm saying? As you get older, and like you're right, as you have some type of influence, you like don't let that hit you. You don't gotta run into that with your face and then throw one and like try to knock him out harder. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because when my brother got out of jail, he started to be like a father figure to me, right? It was like 14. He came out of jail. He came straight to the house, fresh out of jail, with threads on from the 80s. That's how you know how long he had been in jail. So this is like 2000, right?
Damn.
He comes to the house, and he finds me, and then he starts to train me slowly. And he's like, yo, you know, you have to be patient. And he started to give me tips and guidelines and stories of how, yo, this is how you're supposed to fight. This is what happened in the cell fight when I was in jail that I tried to rush in because I wanted to fight him so bad. And you have to be sinister and kind of like direct with your attack. And you got to know.
So this
what
is
you
like
want.
what? So this is 8th, 9th grade for you?
Eighth grade. Eighth grade.
That's funny because I think I remember starting to hang with you around 9th
Yeah.
grade. And I couldn't understand back then. I was like, how is he so calm as he's mad?
Yeah.
Like me, my whole mentality was rage kills everything. And I think I'm still a little bit of that, but that was my mentality. Like, yo, I think that's why I used to take the hits. I'm like, take the hits. So I got dropped one day. I got dropped, but
Well, you
most
can't
of the
take 'em
time,
all.
you can't take them all.
You can't take 'em all.
But no, but that's funny because I remember like you would get hot and you would keep a cool head. I'm like, how the hell is he keeping a cool head?
Yeah,
but it
because-
was around that time period.
Yeah.
That's why I guessed the age.
Yeah,
I remember that.
it sticks with you, and that's what I'm saying. Like those are all father figure tips that you don't get when you just growing up. Like, if man, I wish my brother would have got out 5 years prior. You know what I'm saying? A lot of this stuff, you know, that happened wouldn't have happened in the way that I handled things. I would have handled them a little better.
Right.
I wouldn't have been so timid so early, even with the abuse I suffered. Like, there would have just been different outcomes. Yeah, exactly.
Well, let me
to
ask you,
everything.
man. Like, I mean, as far as like the older sibling, like, and then taking that role or that responsibility. I know I had to take care of my two little sisters from the age of 11 and 13 all the way into they're adults now.
Yeah.
Taught them how to dry everything. But you said your brother went into jail. What do you think? Is that the result of not having a father around as well, or?
Well, I think. Well, you know, a lot of my.
I mean, you said he was around for a
yeah,
minute, right?
Yeah. Well, you're talking about my brother.
You said Kenny,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
You talking about my brother being around with us?
Yeah, like what got him caught up and locked up in the first place? What do you think it's attributed to?
Nah, man, that's some 80s shit. So
Yeah.
I think just the way that things were going, because I have a friend that I work with now that he was a gang member and he went to bed he went to jail for 10 years as well on, you know, because that's LA shit. Like,
Just getting caught up in some of these
in the
rollouts,
street
these
shit, yeah.
systems and stuff that you
Yeah,
like. Once you
because-
get caught up in it, you're like, oh man.
Exactly, and you know, when you shoot somebody, you probably deserve to go to jail. Yeah, we on.
All right.
So, sorry we had to take a brief break. I was out. I mean, there was some hot wings.
Yeah.
Hot wings is good.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Get your Walmart. never mind. I'm not plugging nothing unless they pay you.
Right, exactly.
I'm not plugging shit.
So we were just talking about incarceration and my brother being incarcerated, and that being and we, you know, you tried to contribute it to fatherhood, but for him it was one of those things that you just make a bad decision and you go to jail.
Okay, so I mean, just a challenge.
Yeah. And if my dad,
Damn, that's where I was going.
maybe if my dad wasn't under the influence of
Under
drugs,
circumstances,
then
he would have been there
probably
to be like, yo, check it.
Yeah.
There's a new fad. I think as fathers, we got to be able to identify what trends and fads are going on out there to try to keep our kids away from that direction. granted, we can't control anything. We're just talking about control. We
Yeah.
can't control what they do, but if we could just be like, hey, listen, if you keep walking that direction, there's a cliff. You're going to fall.
Yeah.
You may injure yourself. You may not be able to get back up, or you
Exactly.
may even lose your life.
Or just thinking about it, taking it one step further, installing that when they're younger. Because a lot of things that we install in our children now are the things that they'll develop it throughout life with. So if I tell
agree.
Zaya right now, like, hey, you don't pick up a gun and shoot somebody because this can happen to you, this, that, and the other.
Absolutely.
And I can show you visuals and I can give you, some type of standpoint, especially with my brother, like, hey, this is what your Uncle Man did and this is where it got him. And now he's back in there because you're stuck in the system.
Right.
So that's part of the problem, I think, that you were getting to at the beginning.
I was kind of like, it's a cycle that
Yeah.
has to be broken.
Exactly.
And talking about the system, let's say, okay, let's look at it like this. And I'm gonna get into, like, I want to talk about my pops and the system and getting caught up in the cycle.
All right, bet.
But first, I want to talk about how, what are we looking at? Chicken wings falling?
I told you, man, they good.
No, let it be. All right, so, it's raw. We that real. You know what I'm saying? We got kids to feed, chicken wings. But let's get into the cycle. The cycle of, we are just getting acclimated to, we were talking about our first versions of fatherhood in the black community.
And that's us right now.
We're catching that shit at 14, 15 years old when we got to go to the neighbor's house. I remember even Chappelle, he said something where he's like, oh man, I used to go to my people's house and like I get acclimated to like mac and cheese or rice-a-roni or different things. For us, we have to go to our people's house to get acclimated to what the fuck a father is.
Exactly.
It's crazy.
Yeah, because you can't pass off what a father is just in the passing. So like if I'm going to someone's house, I have to sit there and study for hours to see what it is. Because was it 10,000 hours to actually master something?
Yeah, exactly.
So if
10,000 hours. Yeah.
So if I'm just now being privy to
exposed
it,
to right,
because you got to remember a lot of the stuff that we're doing now as fathers is not stuff that we were learning. We're kind of just teaching ourselves.
So that's what I was about to Gary say. I mean, we're talking about 150 years ago, 200 years ago. I mean, a little more than that, but 200 years ago, just getting our start in a new climate, new environment as black men being fathers. So,
Right.
I mean, what was it? Mid-1800s, we just became independent fathers and families in America.
Right.
So, right now, we're only 100-something years in. We're talking about people who's probably had the advantage of being fathers and having a full family hundreds and hundreds and centuries of years.
And family trees.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So learning, how do you cope with, I mean, we just started voting 60 years ago.
Right.
So how do you cope with just now getting privilege and still dealing with some of the different complications that come along with that?
But then
then still having to juggle fatherhood. We barely know what it is to be fucking black men here.
Exactly. But then it's the knockback as well, though. Because you have to remember that ceased for a while in the 80s due to the drugs. And that's where we're
Knockbacks. Okay, right. Exactly.
So,
when we get caught up in the system, things that are meant to tear us down. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, and that was my point. So the fact that we're still dealing with that now, after
It's like a reset.
exactly. And
So what are we now? So what are we? We're so if we say to the 80s, we're
About 30
90,
years.
20. We're 30 years old.
30 years.
Guess what age we are?
Yeah,
You
30.
see what I'm saying? So people are just starting to get it back together.
Yeah,
and
and-
just starting to figure it out.
And there's a cliff there because you have just with the Generation X with my sister and her raising her son, and my other sister and her raising her two kids. They're raising it without they're raising it from a single mom perspective, right? But they got that down pat because they had my mom available.
So they see that.
So they actually
They
know
know
how
some
to
of the
do it.
things
They
to
don't.
do.
That's why you hear a lot. And you hear women now. You hear it a lot. Like, I don't need a man. Where do you think that stems from?
Because we
Yeah.
we created evolution when it
Exactly.
comes to
Because
raising kids.
you're used to not
from
man
singles.
not being around too. If my sisters have walked around their whole life without my mom having a male there to raise us. And then my sisters have kids, and their dudes want to skip off for whatever reason.
Right.
Then they're already equipped to be like, you know what, I'm gonna just go ahead and take
exactly
this.
what to do when it comes to school, when it comes to homework, when it comes to back to school night, when it comes to fights. They've seen it because they had to endure it.
Exactly.
And so, yeah, absolutely. I mean, but that's crazy because that may cater to a cycle.
Yeah, and it does.
If
and
we're
it
talking about
does.
moms feeling like they can do it by themselves, it's because they've been exposed to that cycle.
And there's a push out effect. So then now women are more accessible. Like sometimes to just push a dude out and be like, you know what, I can do this on my own.
Right, because they've seen it done before.
And that's not
It's
not
problematic.
really the way to go.
It's not gonna. I agree. I think
exactly. But you were saying a little bit while ago that you were going to spin that off into your dad.
So I was gonna talk about my pops. Like, okay, so with the cycle of my pops, I guess the crack epidemic. He was exposed to. You're right. I mean, it came with the flashy chains, the nice cars. Any person would be attracted to that lifestyle.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But the stuff that comes with it, nobody really knew the aftermath of it. So he got caught up in that cycle. It's weird because we have to be able to learn that this cycle wasn't all what it seemed to be. Even when it comes to like rap, music, fashion, female, whatever. It's not all what it's hyped up to be. It's the hype beast, right? So he went to jail, and I think he went to jail. I don't know the first time he went to jail, but that I can recollect. I think when I started to come to my senses, I remember him coming to see me when I was like 8 years old. I was in a foster home with my brother Donald, not my oldest brother, Rodney. He was in a different foster home. I remember him coming to see me with my mom. This is in 1992. All right, and I remember he would come with my mom. I think he came 2 visits in a row. Maybe it was like every other month. I don't know. When you're young, you don't know how much the time is flying by. But then I remember my mom started to come by herself again. Now that I'm older, I can look back and say, shit, he got caught back up in a cycle.
Yeah.
So then 1994 comes around. 1994 comes around, and I remember him coming to see us along with my mom in a group home that I'm in at this time. You know, you move around and shit. And he maybe was around at that point for maybe about 3 visits. And then the cycle continued. And I remember one day him coming, beady eyes, looking different, acting abnormal. But I'm only 8 or 9 years old. And so at this point I'm like, Dad, what's up with you? You're funny today. I remember we used to go to the back of the group home and play basketball. And I remember that he would be good usually, but this time he was just way off. I couldn't even understand what he was doing. So 95 it occurred. All right, we finally made it back to my mom. She went through everything to get us back out of the system, with and without my dad. Pops got caught back up with the drugs again, with the lifestyle again, with the homeboys again. Right back off to jail from 95, 96-ish. He's in jail from 2003. Comes back out. He's out for about another 6, 7, 8 months. Right back in jail after that. 2017?
Yeah.
He's finally back out. So 3 years, all in all, combined, that he was actually out of jail. So it's crazy. But he just got caught up in a cycle. And once you get in, it's like, and the system, the way that it's set up, you may not know what you're getting yourself into, but the way that it's set up, once you get back out, they're going to be like, yo, you got caught up last time. We can't give you this type of job. We can't give you this type of opportunity. So what do? You got to make your money under the table. So now you get caught up in a new trend or the new fad that everybody's talking about or something like that to provide for your family. And now you're back in the same system.
Facts.
It's crazy.
And that's crazy that you say that. So with my dad, my recollection of my dad, I think I seen him, last time I seen him before I seen him at 12 was 2. And my mom relocated us to the Imperial Courts in LA. And that's when she left us with my cousin Cheryl. and she left for a while to get clean and come back and get us, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I remember I was 12.
How long were you with her? Your cousin, this cousin of yours?
Like 2 weeks.
Like 2 weeks. Okay.
Yeah, and that shit just doesn't happen. But
Your mom got clean and like fixed this.
yeah, 2 weeks. So we go. I remember I'm 12 years old, and my mom's like, "Come with me," and I'm like, "All right, cool." Didn't tell me where I was going. I go to the halfway house on Western, and I meet my dad. I'm 12. And he's like, "Oh, you want to ask me any questions?" And I remember the only question I wanted to ask was, like, where you been? What happened? He was, circumstances happened, son.
Why? Right.
Because it's hard to talk to a kid. He couldn't talk to me like an adult thing. It's like circumstances happened, and I couldn't be there, or whatever the case may be. And this is him out of halfway house, so I know one of the circumstances is you've been in jail. You know what I'm saying? I didn't see him again until my brother got out of jail. And he took me over on 42nd.
What year was this?
This was 2000.
2000?
Yeah, this was 2000. So he takes me over there. I'm like 14.
Okay.
And he takes me over there, and I remember we just hung out for a little bit. And I found out where he lived. So I think I went over there one other time with my mom, my sisters, and Rachel. Rachel was with me. And we met him again. Didn't see him again until I was 18.
So 4 years go by.
Yeah.
All right.
4 years go by. I see him when I'm 18.
So 12, you get the introduction. 14, you revisit. 4 years go by. You're an adult now.
Yeah, but it's because my brother went back to jail, so I wasn't going over there anymore. My brother went back to jail.
So brother was a connection.
Yeah, my brother was a connection there. So my brother goes to jail. I don't see my dad again until I'm 18.
Okay, hold on. I want to just challenge you on something.
What's up?
So you said your mom stopped you at the Tupac song.
Yeah, and that brings back to the situation. So when he said it was situations, that kind of rang in from what my mom said probably 6 years prior. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So my mom was setting me up. She knew what she was doing. She knew how to finagle things in life. And, that my mom was making sure that I knew that, hey, you have a dad and you will respect him until you can, process your own thoughts. Because everything, I tell people all the time,
dope.
when you're a parent, you never want to bash the other parent. Reason being is because the kid is already going to make up their own, at the end of the day, they're going to be like, you know what, hey, mom is really cool or dad is really fucked up.
Right.
That usually happens in your adult.
Right.
In your adulthood.
This is absolutely true.
Yeah. So 18 comes around, I'm hanging out with them tough. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure you remember this, where I'm hanging out with the kids, I'm doing my thing, I'm hanging out with my dad, I'm doing my thing, I'm hanging out with my brother. He's in, there's no Zaya at this point. It's just me and my dad, Renee at the time, which is Zaya's mom, my brother and his baby mom. And I'm hanging out tough with him. I'm learning him as we're going along. I'm learning that, hey, this is a real cool dude. You're not on drugs and stuff. And that's why I always tell you, sometimes you got to give your father the benefit of the doubt, regardless of how you feel about it, because you don't know the circumstances. So when I did meet him, and we actually sat down, and he's a cool dude. Yeah. So 3 years pass, and then he passes away. You know what I'm saying? And that it kind of devastates you because you know someone. Basically, you're a 3-year-old at this point. Because you have no recollection of who this person is. Right. Yeah. So you're a 3-year-old, and think about a 3-year-old leaving his dad and losing his dad, and his dad is just gone. You're gonna cry. You're gonna be.
You just met him. Yeah. And most memory kicks in at 3 or 4 years old.
Exactly.
Anyway, so you're barely getting the memory of him.
So it breaks you down to a point and I kind of felt worse that inside, I was feeling really bad inside because I was like, it makes you think about death. Okay, well, what if my mom dies? You know what I'm saying, or something like that. And if I feel this bad with this, I'm not gonna be able to live because I've for that. And I'm really, really, really against drinking and smoking and stuff like that. And you remember, you remember that was. You remember what was happening there? Like,
no, I remember.
was drinking and
I
smoking
remember.
a lot.
Right,
you know what I'm saying? I
right.
was living in Hawthorne. So,
right, I remember that. That story is funny.
Yeah, so it was a complete breakdown for me as a person.
Yeah.
From losing my father because I didn't know who he was. I found out who he actually was without the alcohol, without the drugs, without any type of outside substance. And you got to learn somebody at their core to actually know him, and I felt like I actually needed to do.
I agree.
So that's the breakdown of my relationship with my father.
I mean, that's deep. You know what I'm saying? And like, it's funny. I said I know my mom pops like 3 years out of the whole time I've been alive because we're talking about the cycle of him in and out of jail.
Yeah. Right.
But at the same time, I'm looking at you and your whole cycle of knowing him for 3 years, probably in totality, from the beginning to like the end.
Absolutely.
And us basically both being the equivalent of 3-year-olds, and us not understanding a 3-year-old, no 3-year-old anywhere with a father could understand the lack of time,
right? The
lack of like money or like the circumstances that occurred before he was even born.
Yeah.
So I absolutely agree with you, man. And like I've been I've come to a place, man, in the last like year or two where I think for me, I think it would be something incredible for me to sit down and have a chat with my father. It's something that's taken a lot of I guess you can say mental tenacity to like get past the fact that he wasn't there. And understand that it was probably based off of the circumstances. Yeah. My mom being an element, the drug, the system being set up around him as an element, the pressures of being a new father, things like that. Maybe I can sit down face to face with him. And you've told me this before. You've literally told me, like, yo, don't hold it against you.
But you remember, Randy did the same thing. Ran one.
Ran one?
You remember he has that same type of aggression.
And we probably fed off each other.
Yeah.
Because I mean he lived right next door to me technically. So we would share that same we wouldn't be going through none of this shit if Pops was here.
Yeah.
But that's probably your program from the mother. Yeah. And the fact that's what I'm saying, like the fact that your mom didn't program that into you.
Yeah, it gave me the
more of an open mind to accept.
Exactly. It allowed me the privilege to be like, let me make my own decision on who this man is because it wasn't rarity. Yeah, because it wasn't predetermined in my brain. Right. A lot of things that happen, especially because I hear moms from time to time be like, "Yo, he's trash," like you know what I'm saying, and not in those words, but and I always tell them like, well, you know, are you giving him a chance? You know what I'm saying? Are you letting the child determine it for themselves? Because I 9 times out of 10, and this is just my experience, if someone's going haywire on the dad, it's a little bit of them too. And vice versa. True. And vice versa. Absolutely. If the dad is going, because there's dudes out there.
It's all the mom. Yeah. All the, you know what? One of the things that I try to do is I try to make sure that I acknowledge, like my son's mom, my oldest. I try to acknowledge the fact that, yo, she's temperamental, but I know she cares a hell of a lot about her kid. Yeah. If you throw a negative out there, try to throw a positive out there to swing it, because even when I'm talking to my oldest and I'm like, yeah, your mom be tripping, she be da-da-da, but at the same time, no, she makes sure your grades is on point. At the same time, she makes sure that you're not talking back to other adults. And she may not be a bad person at all. We just didn't match with each other. Exactly. You get what I'm saying? And once that narrative is painted, I think you're right. You give the opportunity for the child to see. And like you said a little bit earlier, you said, yo, by the time you hit 18 or 19, you'll get a full narrative of what type of parent you're dealing with, whether mom or dad.
And you know this, in high school, your perspective changes so often. But once you're in high school, you start to get that mentality that you're going to have for the majority of your life, right? That's where you start to build that growth that you have, right? Yeah. So I just know for me, because you know there was no malice towards my dad when I met him. All there was a want for him to be in my life, right? So when I finally got that, I was like, oh man, this is cool. you know, and I have to thank my mom so much, and I don't think I thank her enough for that, because just the way that I visualized my dad, the way that she painted the picture for him, it was so vivid in like positive energy. Like and my dad will never know this, of course, because he's no longer on this earth, but and he even said, it was funny, my daughter's baby shower, where she was on a cake with her face and she had the thing in her nose, and she remember on the cake, because she was already out when we had the baby shower. My dad and my mom was around each other. That was the first time that I've ever seen my dad and my mom together. Right? Outside of the time that we went to see him in the van. And he pulled me to the side and said, you know, your mom's a good woman. And I didn't want to tell him then, like, yo, you don't even know the half of it, because she's been bigging you up my whole life. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, this is the reason why we can have this.
Why not? Why didn't you want to tell him that then?
Because
I think he might relate.
Well, it probably would have registered with him and made him understand and appreciate my mom a little bit more. But I wanted him to just, I felt like he should understand through my actions. Like, because there's no way that if my mom was beating him down, because there was some hard times with him not around, and for her to just be like, yo, don't even worry about that. Like, your dad is going through something situational. Like, you know, and you'll see that. And she didn't know. Like, my dad could have died 3 years earlier, and now this conversation would have never happened. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would have never been able to meet the man.
Yeah.
You know, so that was great on her end. So I just say to you and to Ram One, sometimes just the conversation will happen, because I had the conversation with him when I was 19 about how I felt and the things that I went through, the fights that I was going through in his name, and you know, and my dad was a fighter, so he was happy about it, which was weird, but it was a growing experience for me, because I was able to, hey, you know what, let me convey this to you, because you may not know what I was going through. Matter of fact, I know you don't know, because you weren't there. So that's all I'm saying when it comes to your dad. And maybe the conversation it can be had, and maybe he's still an asshole after that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Maybe that's not.
But you're talking about the closure, the confirmation.
Exactly.
It's funny. My oldest brother, and he's not even my dad's son. But my oldest brother is like, yo, Dale, I want to sit down with Don. I want to sit down with him and have lunch with him to understand, like you said, the circumstances. Like your mom said, the circumstances. To sit down and understand, maybe there's some circumstances, there's some knowledge that we may be able to learn from this. How to treat women, how to get at women, how to like approach fatherhood, some of the pressures that come along with it. And I told him, I said, like, why? Why do you want to sit down with him? And he's like, because whether he's doing it right or he decided to do it the right way or the wrong way, this is still information. This is something that I can live with, and I can go and approach my kids with this. And I agree with that. To an extent, I agree with it. I guess it's, and it's funny because over the years, it was more like a 60, 70%. It was like, fuck him.
Yeah.
30% was like, maybe I should try to learn. Yes. As the years progress, and I think you're right. You're like, I think what you're saying is don't wait till it's too late to get an understanding of the pressure. So now I would say for me it's more like a 50 or 60% chance if I want to reach out. But I will say this, because as you were saying that, I was thinking in my head like, Dale, why don't you want to fuck with him?
Yeah.
And we talked about our first encounter as a father figure in life. It came down to be about maybe when I was 14 or 15.
Yeah.
So for me, I would say that's very unknown. And if you really look into history, humans, they fear things that they don't know.
Absolutely.
And since I didn't know my father, it's a fear there. And I don't know, it's not a fear of is he stronger than me now? Because, I mean, I got youth on my side in comparison. It's not that. It's not a fear of was I not enough? It's just a fear of I don't know what the fear could be in a weird way. So but I will tell you, though, like, after having this conversation with you, it's funny that cameras on, mics on, and shit like that. It's funny. I've decided about 4 minutes ago, and you probably can see it in my face. You rewind it, check it out. I think it hit me. Where it's like, okay, you know what? My oldest brother, and he's not even my father's son, is willing to take this challenge. I'm the type of person to challenge anything that I even feel any type of fear with. I challenge it to conquer it. So with that being said, I think about 4 or 5 minutes ago, it hit me like, okay, I got to sit down with my pops.
So question.
Yeah.
I just got a message asking me this because, you know, I'm up front out here. Do you think, and I'm paraphrasing here, do you think that maybe times could have been harder with a dad versus not having the dad? Or versus your dad not being there?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Absolutely. I think the foster care, the group homes, my mom, the disability. My mom lost her leg at 18 years old, got hit by a car. Like watching her crawl around on the floor, having to fend for us still, it instilled certain types of morals in me. It instilled certain types of qualities that I now apply to my kids. And see, I learned very basic shit to the point where it's like, this is everything that my fucking dad did. If I do the opposite, I didn't even have my first drink until I was like the age of like 20.
Yeah.
Because I was like, that's what my dad did, and this is how I ended up. So I cannot do what he did. I've never snorted. I've never like done any type of drugs. You know what I'm saying? I think I tried, certain things. You know what I'm saying? Like more from the earth, green things.
Yeah. Like
over the age of 21. Like I had to make sure that I was completely in a safe hole before I even tried anything that he did, because I just took it upon myself. If my life was this hard and this miserable because he did all of this shit, if you do the opposite, you're gonna have some pretty good outcomes.
Yeah, I can second that. I think
you agree with that.
Yeah, I think that because I don't know the outcome, because I think without drugs and my dad being there, I totally would have done better. But with the drugs and him there, no.
Yeah, that's right.
Because everyone that stayed with him went to jail, except my sister that hightailed it to my aunties and my I think her stepdad or goddad. You know what I'm saying? So I would have been worse off with my dad in the state that he was in. Now, if my mom would have taken him with her and would have both got clean versus her leaving because she felt like she had to do. So I'm not faulting you, Mom. I'm not. I don't want a whooping. But if she would have taken him or something like that, or if he was willing to go, because I don't know, maybe she did offer him.
Right.
If he was willing to go and he got clean, I think that we would have done better, because history shows now, and you know, being married, 2-income household, 2 people helping,
man,
2 people doing something.
Sister don't like that shit. It's
like
belly.
Exactly.
I don't like that shit.
It's a life, right?
For real.
So that's, I think, in terms of my dad being the way he was, no, but if he were clean, yes, absolutely.
I agree. I mean, I've never seen a clean pops.
Facts.
Besides the few that I've seen, but I'm saying, like, as far as my pops, the times that he did come home and he seemed like he was trying to be clean, was he respectful as far as discipline? Like, it was sometimes when he would check my mom's, like, yo, you doing too much.
Yeah.
I think he was a great guy when he was off of that shit.
Yeah.
But I think the cycle got him so engulfed that he had no choice. I mean, he had a choice, but I had no choice but to see one type of father, and that was that.
Exactly. So wrapping it up with everything. So how does your childhood, the way that you were raised, how do you use that to raise your children now?
I mean, I use the opposite. The opposite of everything that like I said earlier. Like if I do everything opposite of what he did, I should be okay.
Yeah.
But in the last few years, I realized that's not enough, because, like, we grew up harder.
Yeah.
We grew up bouncing around different high schools, fights, drugs, gangbangers all around us. So I think it's made me a little overprotective.
Yeah.
Because I knew what I needed at those times where, like, I'm sitting there in foster home. I'm talking about 11, 13 different foster homes and group homes combined. The times where I was like, yo, if I had somebody to protect me, somebody to make sure, like, I knew why I should tie my shoe, somebody who knew why I shouldn't hang with friends or something like that, like, yo, I would be so much greater. Now, the funny part about it is, it's you never know with the universe.
Yeah.
I felt like that's what made me who I am today, those trials and tribulations. So I'm trying to make sure that though my kids don't have to go through the same things that I went through, you never know. It's a balance. I don't want to overforce some of the, yo, you got to fight. You got to go and do it. You got to play a sport. You got to do this, that, and the third, because this is what I did, and this is what made me like this. It may do the adverse thing. It may trigger something completely opposite.
And they go another direction.
And they go the other direction. Because, see, now they got a father here to help them guide, to guide them. What if they decide, like, I want to do the opposite of what my dad did?
Yeah.
So maybe it's a weird cycle where we got to figure out as a generation and the generations to come, do we take lead of a positive example? What is a positive example to them? But overall, man, I think it's affected me in a way where I just want to make sure I'm there for my kids. I provide for my kids. I will work for my kids. I will try for my kids. I'll die for my kids.
Yeah. That's what it all comes down to.
And that's it.
And then they actually know what a strong male is. And I think that's what's lost in the shuffle, because it's not about mom and dad. It's about both of us working together.
I agree.
And if we can do that as humans and raise the children in the way that they're supposed to be, I don't feel like they'll be left out. I feel like I lost a lot not being able to benefit from both sides.
I agree.
But I did gain a lot because I gained a lot of experience of what I don't want to do. So the same way that you take everything that happened to you and you do the complete opposite, I find myself doing the same. But learning on the fly on how to be a father makes me kind of overcompensate.
That's good.
So
just in case.
Yeah, just in case.
Provide extra just in case.
Yeah, so this is what you got. Now, I do see the counter effects of it. You give your kids everything, they start to be spoiled.
That's true.
Because I came from nothing.
That's true.
So, we're going to Disney and we're doing family trips and
extra toys,
extra
food.
Toys.
What do you want?
Right. And it's
because you never had that for the most part.
And kids are still simplistic because I gave Aiden a Power Wheel for his Christmas. I never had a Power Wheel. So I always wanted. So I was like, "Yo,
I'm with you.
You need a Power Wheel." So
get this nigga out this drink. Man.
I said, go ahead.
Not the kids. I'm saying like, yo, when I was a kid, I wanted to like bum rush. Forget your Power Wheel, nah.
So I give him a Power Wheel this year. He plays with it for a second. You know what he ran to?
What?
The box.
The box.
The box of the Power Wheel box.
Oh, I think I remember you telling me.
Running around, jumping in it, breaking it, smashing it, picking up. He throws his clothes and he starts hitting stuff with the box. So they don't need all that stuff, and that's something I have to learn. So this Christmas, you're getting boxes. You're getting a whole lot of boxes. That's what's gonna happen, and you're gonna get clothes and things that you need, necessities. Because we fail to remember the necessities because we weren't given the necessities. We were like, we're gonna give you overly, and you still have to be mindful that they still need to know a little struggle. Yeah. So they are able to cope with life when things happen.
Oh yeah. No, I agree with that. If Zion wants games, then he has to use his money that he's earned throughout the week to get his games. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, and we make it a point to speak to him with all honesty, even if it sounds brutal. Sometimes we're like, yo, listen. No, we cannot buy this new character on your video game because mommy and daddy has to go to work and we have to do this event tonight to make sure that we make enough money so we can maybe get you a game. But even with that being said, that's $5. Yo, have you put any effort, any work? You want me to buy this game? You got $5 in your piggy bank that you've accumulated. Turn that into us so he can understand the price and the value of it.
Yeah, and the best thing I just heard from you?
What?
Is we.
We what?
We.
All right.
You saying we as in dad and mom.
Yeah.
That shit is a lost Like,
I mean, she's alright. She alright. Nah, she's good. She's great. No, she's great. But absolutely though, I think at the end of the day, you gotta give some credit to the moms that actually who are willing to do it by themselves. And you have to also give credit to the dads. I mean, to the moms who are willing to do it with the partners and find a balance. But at the end of the day, we got to give props and credit to the dads, Mr. Dad.
right.
There it is. You know
All
what I'm
right.
saying?
All right, so we got to get back to raising these kids. And we'll see you next time.